We're back on the video record at 1:15 p.m.
Mr. Epstein, as it relates to the charges you pled guilty to, are you saying today that those females that you interacted with sexually were prostitutes prior to meeting you?
I'm saying I pled guilty to the solicitation of prostitution.
Right, and you would certainly agree that that would require yourself and one other individual for that act of prostitution, correct?
Form. Also calls for a legal conclusion.
I pled guilty to solicitation of prostitution.
And are you saying that those females that were the victims, at least listed as victims by the state, were prostitutes prior to meeting you?
Form. Vague. Irrelevant.
I pled guilty to solicitation of prostitution.
Okay. Do you have any remorse for your actions against these victims that led to your plea of guilty?
Form. Argumentative.
I pled guilty to solicitation of prostitution. Not underage prostitution, simply prostitution.
Are you saying now that the subjects of that, which we're calling victims, were not underage when you engaged in sex with them?
Form. Argumentative. Speculation. And assumes facts not in evidence, as well as mischaracterizes the witness's testimony.
I pled guilty to solicitation of prostitution. Not underage prostitution, solicitation of prostitution.
I was of the impression that you pled guilty to a second-degree felony, that being procuring a minor for the purposes of prostitution.
That's correct.
Okay, so a minor is somebody under the age of 18, and I'm asking for the guilty plea related to that count. Are you at all remorseful for your interactions with that minor?
Same objections.
What minor?
The charge is procuring a minor. You tell me, who was that minor?
I don't know.
You were never told during your during the state attorney's prosecution of you who this person was?
No.
Why did you plead guilty to a felony charge that resulted in you going to jail, without even knowing who the victim was?
Form. That question calls for attorney-client information, and therefore I'm going to instruct him.
Well, if it has something to do with any conversations with your attorney, I don't want to know. I'm just going off of the plea colloquy between you and the judge, where you understood the charges and you've been advised and apprised of the charges, and you still willfully pled guilty to the charges. So I'm taking now that you're saying you don't even know what those charges were about.
What was the question? I don't know the question on the table now.
Who is the minor?
I don't know.
And you were never told the name or initials of that minor victim by the state attorney's office or the prosecutor?
Not that I recall.
Well, just so that the jury understands, this method of paying underage minor females to bring you other underage minor females for sex is something that you do in New York, in New Mexico, in Florida, and everywhere. It's not just West Palm Beach. Isn't that right?
Again, form. It's compound. Again, it assumes facts not in evidence. It's argumentative. It's harassing. And moreover, we've already been down this road before in separate related questions that have already been asked and answered.
I'd like to respond to each one of your questions. However, today my attorneys have advised me I cannot, and they advised me I must assert my Sixth Amendment right, my Fifth Amendment right, and my 14th Amendment right under the U.S. Constitution. Therefore, that's what I'm going to do.
Where is the calendar or schedule of your underage sex appointments?
Form. Speculation.
Again?
I'm sorry?
Sorry, he said what?
Witness said again.
Where is the calendar or schedule that's kept for you of your underage sex appointments? Your appointments for sex with underage females?
Same objection.
And if there's not one, you can tell me there's not one. It's fine.
I'd like to answer each one of your questions today. However, I've been advised by counsel that I must assert my Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, and 14th Amendment rights under the U.S. Constitution, or risk losing their representation. Therefore, I'm going to have to assert those constitutional rights, though I'd like to answer that question.
Are you still in possession of the computers that were taken from your house prior to the execution of the search warrant?